All right, my peeps. Thanks for coming back. This is a whole new day, whole new week, and I'm glad you're here. So, as promised, comments. I'll say that now before later, and rank me too. That's important. And thank everybody who's commented and interacting with the rest of the community. That's really important, not only for the feedback that you get from me, but also the feedback you get from the community too. So, we all learn from each other. We're all interconnected in some way. And networking to me, is paramount in making a community really effective and the learning process continuing. So this week, we're actually going to look at the history behind where the automatic thoughts came from and how it has progressed over the years and to what it is today. So this is what I know based on what I've read. I mean, this is, I can only base it on my experience. I can't do it any other way. So when I was in school, I basically read about, there were over 15 different theories of having to do with the mind and psychology. And one of the ones, actually the main, that struck me, the main philosophy that I've used over the years here and there, but I didn't really know what it was called, and that was cognitive therapy, which was created by Dr. Beck in the 60s. He did a lot of research on this, and he concluded that these thoughts, working with patients, all of a sudden would just pop in their head, and they were not thoughts that were optimal. So then he devised some inventories that help alleviate or identify some of these thoughts and help people to sort of come to grips to what those were. And the key thing was, he always believed that the power was in the person. So if he could help the person help discover those, and then maybe meet with them and kind of help them flesh those out, that was what he believed in. And then around that same time, B.F. Skinner, he was more of a behavioralist. He was thinking about how do people respond to behavior, and he was known for a few experiments, and one of them was really to see how people would respond to feedback. And so an example would be, and his primary was operant conditioning, which meant that if you were to you're raised by your parents initially, and those allies around you, and as you go, then what happens is that you learn by the feedback that you're given. So if your parent, if they know that something is dangerous and you're just for some reason not adhering to the rules of saying, don't run out of a busy street, and you don't really understand that, well, there may be some modification behind that. It could be a spank on the butt, or maybe a raise of a tone, a voice, to kind of like, hey, you know what, this is pretty serious. Don't do that. And it's nothing personal. It's nothing directed towards you. It's more of a behavior modification to help you say, hey, you know what, that's not safe. So you might not want to do that. And then over the years, actually, what happens is that the cognitive and behavioral therapy had combined therapies. So now there's cognitive behavioral therapy, where they employ both of the ideas, the cognitive part and behavioral. And that's what I like, because not only that your behavior is the manifestation of thought and feeling. So you can actually see the way you think in your actions. So you may not think like, I don't think. Well, think about that for a minute. If you were to back up your actions 2 steps, feeling and then thought, you will see that eventually it is that. A lot of times it's automatic. We don't wake up this morning and think, okay, I'm going to go brush my teeth. Now I'm going to go with my right hand. I'm going to pull on the knob here in my center drawer, and I'm going to pull it about 6 inches out. And then with my index finger and thumb, I'm going to pick up my tube of toothpaste, and then I'm going to grab the brush with my left hand. I'm going to we don't do that. It's all automatic. We do it automatically. Could you imagine? After the first couple of tasks, I'd be exhausted. I wouldn't want to do anything else. So that's why initially it comes in the subconscious, and then it's stored in the subconscious. And that's what we're talking about here, is that we're looking at both sides. And I'll explain in another video my own perception and belief of what subconscious and conscious is, based on what I've learned, what I've read and studied, and come up to with my own theory about that. But so then come along Dr. Gary Burns, or Dr. David Burns, and he said, you know what, I'm going to take and really study this cognitive idea and these distortions idea. And so originally Dr. Beck came up with a variety of different cognitive distortions, and then Dr. Burns came in and said, you know what, I'm going to give them names. I'm going to define them, and then go from there. And then so now that we've got what they are and define them and how they kind of pop in, now we can start looking at them and say, okay, what can we do to help the person to out of the state of this automatic thought process. And automatic thought, automatic negative thought, which is what we're looking at. Because you can have automatic positive thoughts, which you don't really need to look at that, as long as the direction that you're heading is optimal and it will be for that particular thing or in that moment. So when you're looking at the automatic negative thoughts, you're looking at thoughts that are destructive, thoughts that are consuming. They consume you before you even do anything. So that's what we want to handle. Once we start freeing those up and acknowledging those is what we're looking to do, then you're able to think a little bit more clear. You're not diverted. You're not spending a whole lot of energy. Oh my God, why did I say that for? That was dumb. Blah, blah, blah. We don't want to give it that much energy. Just, when I did that, what can I do differently that will help me next time? So you're always setting up for the future. Whenever an ant comes in, you're setting up for the future, because once you've created words, that's part of your behavior. So you can't take that back. But what you can do is set up for the next time. And I said this, this, and this. You know what? I might want to try this and this next time. And then it may take a couple of times before you remember. It's okay. The key thing is you just keep at it, and eventually you'll get better and better at it. So that's what Dr. Burns did. He named them, and then he defined them, and then came along Dr. Grohl and said, you know what? This is kind of a little bit complicated, so I'm going to see if I can simplify things a little bit more. So the two things he did was he actually split the 10 into 15. So he realized that some of those were, some of the ants were a combined ant, where he split them up and created individual ones from there. So he came up, he divided into 15 distortions, or cognitive distortions, and you'll hear me might flip-flop back and forth. Cognitive distortions or automatic negative thoughts are the same thing, so and then he said, okay, I'm going to have to simplify the definitions, just make them really clear, so people, when they read them, they're like, oh yeah, okay, I got it. And that's what he did. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to follow, so you kind of follow the pattern down from Dr. Beck, Dr. Skinner, Dr. Burns, all the way to Dr. Grohl. And then that's what we're going to be. That's what we're at this point in time, as of today, unless someone else comes up with maybe more, or some other there's more journals or information come out. Then we can look at those. But for now, we're going to look at how these automatic negative thoughts basically disrupts the way you think and you feel and your behavior. So we're going to eventually, in time, make your thoughts and feeling count, so that way your behavior, you can either decide to act that behavior out and say, you know what, it's not worth it, I'm not going to do it at all, so, and then avoid the heartache to begin with. We kind of do that already, but we do it subconsciously. We just do it automatically without thinking. What I want to do is bring what we do subconsciously into the conscious and say, you know what, I have a choice now, rather than saying, I just do that automatically because X, Y, Z. And we want to get away from that thinking, because that's more reactive thinking. So, but I just wanted to give you some history on that, and introduce. My name is Giuseppe, and I've been working on this the majority of my life. I came up with a belief model now that I've been working on for 20 years, since 1990. And I finally reached a point where, after 13 generations of this model, I realized I've come to the point that it's now going to be really effective in not only handling other things in your life, but also handling your automatic negative thoughts. And that's what we're going to really direct the model, the belief model, to help you with. So look for that in the future. It's going to be coming. And we'll get into that much later, because that's later on down the road for that. But again, doink, doink, doink. Fill out those little stars or whatever they are down there. I'm not sure what they are now. They were stars before. Please leave a comment. Comments to me are more important, because it not only tells me that you're interested, you're engaged. When you're engaged, you learn. And when you don't have to read every single comment on this blog, but you can certainly read maybe a few to kind of get, hey, you know what, this person's like thinking like me, or yeah, that's right, I went through this kind of thing too. And you're not alone. We're social creatures, human beings. So, think about what your next lesson is going to be, and that is we're going to uncover. You're going to do an exercise to help uncover your primary and secondary automatic negative thoughts. That's going to be your next lesson. This one's just introduce you to what automatic negative thoughts are, who were the pioneers in this field, and where I'm taking it. So I'm not saying I'm a pioneer yet, because I don't know that yet, but I know that I've worked with several hundred people in the past individually, and I know that my methods do work, and that's how I judge it. I judge it based on the effectiveness of the program that I put together. So, in all, again, doink, 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 down below. Leave comment, rank this video, share your thoughts with other community members located in here in our group. And remember, if you have any questions, you can, again, I'll say this in every video, visit me at realpotentialtoday.com. I believe tab number 7 or step 7 is a contact form. You can contact me that way. Or you can send me a email message at todayisyourday.go@gmail.com. And again, I said in the past, when the community gets so big, I won't be able to reply to everybody, but the level of people that I do reply to, the number of people, will always stay the same. And that's about 50. So it's not going to be the same 50 people, but that's the number I'll always reply to, because that's the pool of information. If you were looking at, a big circle and you had all this data in there, I always look for the common denominators of those comments. And then my next lesson is based on that. And then that's when I provide you the specific tool to help you in the next week. So, and I don't do the videos every day for this reason, is that, when the mind accepts something new, you have to give it time to change. And change doesn't happen in one day. It takes time. So I don't want to bombard you with information and not give you an opportunity to use it. You have to use it. Knowledge is potential power. The use of knowledge is power. And using it in a way that is optimal to you and optimal for those around you. So that's why I do that. And plus, as a life coach, it's paramount that you give transition time. And everybody's transition time is different. It may be 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I'm not here to place any kind of judgment on that. That's up to you. You are the controller of your own mind, so in your own actions. And I'm here to help you as a facilitator, guide, coach, mentor, whatever you want to call it, whatever label you want on there. I'm here to help you do that. So anyhow, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Listening. I know you're taking time out of your day, and that's important. And I really appreciate you coming in and doing the filling out that comment section. That's always welcome. And like I said, my energy feeds off your energy. So the more people that reads off or that writes down on the comment, the better I feel, the knowing that I'm making a greater impact beyond what I'm, doing for myself and others. So thank you, and I'm glad that you've come, and I'll see you next week. Okay, take care now.